Fags, you had a couple of niggles out of the weekend. What's any progress on Jared Berry and Oscar? Have they been able to train this week?
Oscar trained fully this morning, so he looks fine. You'd have to say there's a doubt over Berry. We'll give him a little bit more time, but I'm not sure that he'll get there.
Does he need a bit of an extended break just to allow a sort of rest and recoup?
From what?
He seems to be carrying something, Jared.
No, he got groin soreness last week, and that's why he came off. He hasn't had any injuries prior to that, so.
It's not the same thing he missed the game for.
No, not the same thing. No, he had a hamstring issue, so a bit different. No, so it's not anything long term. It's just different things. Yeah.
Do you feel like you're starting to? It's only one match, but you've been able to settle on a team a little more now that you've got McStay back and Gardner back. You think you might get some continuity? Yeah,
probably. I mean, it's probably have been unsettled probably for the first 4 or 5 weeks, and we've gradually got players back. So last week was our most solid performance for the year. So that should give the boys confidence going forward. I wouldn't think we'd make too many changes this week.
A solid performance and a really dominant performance too. What do you take away? Was it, that Essendon wasn't as good, or did you just come together as a side?
Oh, it's just hard to know at the early stages of the season. I mean, Essendon have had some terrific victories against, like St Kilda. They really accounted for them very, very well a few weeks ago. So I think in a sense the improvement came from us last week. That's as well as we've performed as a team. We need to keep that going, but it was a good step in the right direction.
Was there a reason why it was better? Did you put your finger on why it was better, or just because the conditions were pretty crappy as well?
Yeah, no, the conditions were tough. I think just that our more regular players back into the team is helpful. That's one thing. I think our first 4 weeks we played some pretty good sides. So when you play good sides, the games look like they're more of a struggle, I guess. Whereas Essendon at the weekend, they're going to be a good side, but they're a young side, so they are a different kettle of fish. So it's a combination of things, and it's different every week, I guess.
What do you make of Carlton?
I don't make of Carlton what everybody else is making of them this week, that's for sure. I think they've copped a little bit of criticism, I think somewhat unfairly. I've looked at their season so far. They were within 8 points of Richmond at three-quarter time in round 1, and within 9 points of Collingwood in round 2 at three-quarter time. They had a terrific win against Fremantle, which I watched live. Able to come up here and beat the Gold Coast at Metricon, and they copped some criticism about their performance last week, but I look at it and they had more shots on goal than Port Adelaide. So I'm going there 2-3, we're 2-3. They're going pretty well. So we've got a lot of respect for them and how they're going about things, and we expect the game on the weekend to be a really tough game.
I feel like two teams are sitting in a similar boat, and the criticism's more pointing to like the end result rather than looking deeper at how you're playing. Like you talk about Brisbane's first few games, you're playing pretty well and just got pipped at the line. By the sounds of things, Carlton, if you look deeper, are actually playing reasonably well, but people are going, they've lost.
Yeah, I think sometimes people just look at the surface. I guess as a coach, you tend to dig a little bit deeper because you're trying to look for what the true form is. And, you're obviously always very aware of your own form as a team. I don't always look at wins and losses to tell me about form. It's just how we're going on certain things. We'll always tell you the story. And, as I say, from our perspective, I think Carlton's going a little bit better than what some of the experts this week have sort of have been pointing out about them. Port Adelaide are a really good side, and Carlton were very competitive for most of that game. Sure, they had some moments, but every team has moments. You can search every week on the tape, look at behind goals tapes, teams win or lose, and you can always find things that teams didn't do very well. Always.
Sorry, just going back to Jared Berry, when will you make a decision on whether he'll play?
Well, we'll make that decision tomorrow afternoon. We don't have to put the team in until then, but as I say, I'm reasonably doubtful that he won't play, but we'll just give him a bit more time.
I understand Lachie Neale and his partner wife Jules are expecting in mid-October. You're hopeful it stays mid-late October, not maybe 3-4 weeks early?
I'm just happy for Jules and Lachie that they're having a child. I haven't even thought about that. We'll cross that hurdle when we come to it, and I hope we're still alive in the season and that it is a problem.
it's a roundabout way of bringing it back to the midfield after that. But you said during the pre-season you seemed keen to get some more speed into your midfield. And
Yep.
on the weekend, I could be wrong, it looked a lot more Lockie, Jared, back to what was so successful last year. Is that sort of the method you think you'll go?
Yeah, all those Zorko and Bailey and McCluggage and Mitch Robinson, all those guys went through there at times last week. So there was still that mix. It may have just been the way the game panned out, and the fact that it was wet, that you could sort of keep those guys in there for longer. I think it sort of varies sometimes according to the ground that you play out and the conditions.
Do you have to? How flexible does your game plan have to be when you go from the wet one week to the back to under the roof and the dry the next week?
Well, we practiced all week to play in the dry, so, and I thought in lots of ways we played a pretty good dry weather brand in the wet, believe it or not. So if we can move the ball like that again at Marvel Stadium, I'll be happy with that.
Chat about this place changing. It's 2032. You might still be here for all going well.
No, I won't.
What do you think, though? But how does it look to you? You know, it's pretty impressive if it all goes.
It's going to be fantastic for Brisbane if it all goes ahead. I think it'll be great. Obviously, the Lions might have to find somewhere to play for a few years, but I'm sure all those things will be sorted out in time. But it's if it happens, it's great news for the city.